Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. It's one of the busiest weeks on our show. And our guest today is also very busy. Breakout guy everywhere he goes on the UK independent scene at the moment. I've had the pleasure of seeing him in action in Jurassic and Ignite, and again I'll be seeing him in Jurassic and Ignite very soon. It's Jackson Hart, or Joel Jackson in this case. Joel, good afternoon, happy Tuesday. Have you actually come down from the very high temperatures that we've been having at the moment?
I have. I'm at a relaxed, nice temperature. I've got my 2 bottles of Highland Spring, keeping hydrated.
Other waters are available from other good shops as well.
Other waters are also available from all good shops now. I'm feeling good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I've also got a brand of drink. Other brands are available from the shop that you can buy.
Nice.
Bill, thanks for taking your time out today. It's a busy schedule. You're a busy man doing a lot of wrestling. We're going to touch on to that a bit. We're going to touch on to how busy we are a bit later on when we get to plug our bits and pieces. First off, for the people that don't know you, how did you get into this crazy world of wrestling that we live in? What was it that first, when you first sat there watching it and you're like, this is fun? And then how did you end up getting into it from a training perspective as well?
Nice. For me, it was something that I'd always watched when I was little. Like my brothers watched it. My dad is a very unspoken wrestling fan. My dad's a huge, obviously everyone used to watch World of Sport on Saturday. That was part of British culture in a way, whatever. And my dad liked wrestlers. Like my dad was a big fan of Rockable Rocco. He really liked Dynamite Kid as well.
Yeah.
So he was always into wrestling. And then when I was little, I remember watching my first good few memories are of Shawn Michaels stood in front of the TV. Obviously, and I used to throw that up. I used to throw the suck it and everything. And I was probably 3, 4 years old. And I suppose that for me, it was just a case of I was always a fan. I religiously watched it. It's one of the few passions I have in life, that and say comic books. And I got to a point in my life where I was like, either I'm gonna be a fan of this my whole life, and I'm gonna have that awkward conversation with people like, oh, you still like wrestling, even though it's not real. And then I'll be like, yeah. Or I could try and do it or get involved in it somehow, and then that kind of makes me feel a bit better about it. And then I ended up training. I started off training in a couple places in London. I did a beginner's thing with knuckle locks. I did a few bits down at London School of Lucha Libre, which I don't think run anymore, but I think they've rebranded and stuff. I took a lot of time off because I thought I had some injuries and etc. And then I really kind of got up and going and properly started again, where I really started heading towards doing shows in 2019, which was with obviously UBW.
Yeah.
And a little bit of time went on, and here we are.
Here you are today, very successful and very much doing some good stuff. I will tell you that I did, amazingly, I might not look it, I did train for about a month to try when I was 18. So my wrestling thing started in about 88. So we first got Sky when it first came out, and it was on telly. So it was Hogan, Savage, and people like that. Then obviously Undertaker and stuff, and Shawn Michaels when he was the Rockers at that point. I would say more so. Before he started telling everyone to suck it and throwing that pose, he was part of the Rockers. I went to Dropkicks for about a month. Over in Essex. I learned very quickly and very painfully that it definitely wasn't. I would never be able to get involved from a ring aspect. Not because I wasn't athletic enough, it hurts. And I think that's the thing that everyone always, because they'll always throw out that whole thing that it's fake and stuff like that. And it's just man, you you just don't know.
It's the impact. And I'm always, sorry to cut you off, so I'm so passionate about this as well. I'm like a typical wrestler. I'm like, what do you mean it's fake? But for me, whenever I speak to I don't know, someone who's super interested in MMA, because a lot of people, I think we're still kind of in a way of yes, us wrestling fans, our community, we all know exactly what it is. And yes, there's 80,000 stadiums getting sold out from a company that's not WWE and etc. However, like I'll still have general conversations with general people, like let's say casuals. They'll be like, oh, so like when you do it, like, are they trying to tap you out? Are they trying to like break your nose? Like, is it like MMA or something? I'm like, well, no, it's not. And I explain that, but I say how like the impact though, even though whether, you know, it's rehearsed or predetermined, whatever, the impact is so real. Like you cannot fake falling off a ladder.
No.
And I'll always explain that ring is not a trampoline. Like it is steel, wood, and a little kind of judo-ish mat, and maybe a bit of like that type of stuff on the top. That's it. Like,
I think that when I first started going, so I was always I mean, I went to 5 WrestleManias. I've done all of that WWE stuff. I've met people like Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and people like that. The ring thing is so different. Like obviously when I come to Jurassic and come to Ignite, it's our good friend Brett. This is his ring. And when you get dropped on that, the noise impact is like ridiculous compared to like. I'm not saying a WWE ring's more protected. It's just, I suppose when you're in a stadium compared to when you're in an arena or hall or something like that, it makes such a different noise. And I think the last show was that, which was Ignite actually. It was Buckle Up. It was our show. No, it wasn't. It was Jurassic. Not too long ago, we was at Jurassic. And the noise it was making, it was just making me cringe at any move, just because it sounded, as you say, it's literally on a bit of wood. And the impact, I mean, you're getting thrown. Also, when you get thrown around by a guy that weighs 300 pounds, you can protect yourself so you don't get injured, but you're still going to get hurt, right?
Yeah, you can't. What can you do about that? Like that's the thing. I'll always explain that to people as well. Like if someone throws me above their head and they're 6 foot, I'm probably going to hit at least 8 feet or 9 feet of air because of like my size and their size. We're working together. It's an act. Like, but when I come down from that height, I can't really. There's no way I can fake that. Do you know what I mean?
No. So that's why I always think frog splashes off that. When you see like people like Montez Ford nowadays, the height that he gets when he gets
crazy,
and he like, you know, it's winded. As soon as he hits you, he's winded, and the one's probably taking it. Probably ain't much better off.
The level of height he gets is crazy, man.
Absolutely unreal. For people that don't know you, have never seen you compete, what's your style of wrestling? How would you say, would you incorporate your style into the business? What would you do?
My style? Sorry, I'm staying hydrated.
Please do.
My style, I would say it's a very quite typical cruiserweight style. And not to demean my style, but calling it typical, but I think it is. I am not the biggest man in the world. So you know, for me, I think so.
We're not. Don't start criticizing the height, man. You're about my height. We're fine.
We're in this together.
We are.
Short Kings. Kings.
That's it.
We're in this together. But it's that usual cruiserweight style, because I think also the expectation, at least this is kind of my belief as a fan, so much away from like how I actually want to wrestle, is like I think how people will see me when I come out on a presentation scale or as a fan scale. That's what they want to see. I don't think they want to see a guy of my size, you know, like doing like loads of like heavy shots and stuff. And like, yes, I can incorporate that in there, and you can incorporate like using your strength and stuff because that's spectacle. But it is very much that athletic, cruiserweight, high flying style. And I really enjoy that as well. Like it's a lot of fun. Like I like jumping from things that are very high up. Like if I'm on a show and I see that there's a balcony that I can jump from, I'm always kind of like, I need to talk about that because that's just me. Like that's in there. Like I'll never get away from that. So
you grew up in the Jeff Hardy era, so I'm not surprised that you.
Yeah, that guy has affected a lot of lives,
including his own.
Including his. Yeah.
What I would say though, because Joel, you did mention about, you sort of said about, you know, people would look at you and think they want to see that high flying ball, but for a cruiserweight, you do have a bulk to you, which is more to do so with the gym, and we'll touch on the gym in a minute. There you go. The guns are out. Well, the guns are nearly out. There you go.
nearly.
You are. As I say, I would have had you, and this, I suppose, if I had never seen you wrestle, because I know you're a lucha, I've seen you wrestle, I would put you more in like a Chad Gable, Kurt Angle type of mold, because you've got that lucha libre, but you've also got that, you could also hit a hard impact move because of the fact that you train so hard. So that's where I would put you in. A compliment, maybe it's an insult, I don't know.
Yeah, thank you, man. Chad Gable, like, whoa, that's sick, like, yeah.
Don't even get me started on Chad Gable. If you've listened to the podcast enough, you know.
Crazy. Sorry, I'm deviating, but I love Chad Gable. I've always liked his stuff from like NXT, Alpha America, Jason Jordan era. Like, so now seeing what he's doing with Welter, amazing. And I hope he gets the belt. Sorry for deviating, but
no, I agree. I just want it to be an Iron Man, like a 30-minute, just let them go.
They could kill that. Yeah, damn, that'd be crazy. Yeah,
I would definitely. We have deviated, but it's fine because I can talk Gable and Walter, for example, or Gunter, whatever you want to call it.
Walter, man.
I don't fancy taking one of his chops though.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to take one of
those. In my heart, it'd probably cave it in.
Oh, bro.
He would kill
some of the chops he throws.
Exactly. They're very bad. He's also quite an impact guy, but he's also dropped a bit of weight. You know, he was quite stockier when he come in, but he's now more of a youth.
Sorry as well. I remember seeing him at Progress. I think he was working Trent Seven in a title versus title match, something like that. I think it was. And it was crazy. Crowd was crazy. Alexandra Palace is always electric. Yep. Beautiful venue, beautiful crowd, like beautiful match. And then literally, like he like to me, I always liked his presentation and look because I kind of look at Gunther, but obviously he was Walter back then. He would fit in any era. Like you could put him anywhere. You could put him in like the 1960s, 70s, like with all of those guys, and like so you could put him in 80s, 90s. Well, so but he was a lot bigger, a lot bigger. So he's really trimmed down. Like he's like he's like really super ripped up now. So
I don't think it'll be long before he's holding a different title in the WWE. Let alone
same, 100%.
Let's talk gym because obviously, like I said, you work out, you do a lot of work. There's no doubt about that. You look great. There you go. There they are. Don't look at mine. Look,
yes, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Mate, I wish.
Short Kings, we up.
Short Kings, I can do that. But you do a lot of work and you look after yourself very well. It's clear to see when you come out, the presentation of you. Like I said, it does look at more so a Gable, an Angle more than a Cruiserweight. In terms of your workouts and what you do they deviate if, say, or does your diet deviate if, say, for example, it's match week, for example, you've got a couple of matches or one or two matches or whatever. Does things deviate depending on what you're doing?
Yes. Yes. Because for me, like for a while now, I've been trying to bulk, which is really, really hard. And for me, it's eating a lot of food and it's dieting. But wrestling is an insecure business. In the sense of what I mean by that, it's like this is so cosmetic. Like this is the most cosmetic thing you could do short of like bodybuilding. And obviously that's insane. But like I mean, you're topless in front of strangers, like all the time.
Yeah.
So, and it's difficult. Like, say for me, it will deviate because even though I'm getting bulkier and I'm trying to look bigger, I'm trying to be more like muscular. I'm trying to be more physically and functionally strong as well in terms of my training, in terms of like lifting the guys I wrestle with and throwing them. But as I get closer to like a show day, and if I look at me and I don't feel like I've got enough abs, I will get a bit like funny about that. So then I'll go on like a little bit, even though I'm trying to still bulk, I'll try and go on like a very, very mini cut for that week of like just quickly shedding something here so that abs just come in more and stuff like that. Wow. So yeah.
Interesting. Do you also have to work? Because obviously it's a fitness thing as well, isn't it? It's not you're going to be in there 20 minutes. You've got to be able to not blow up. I mean, we've seen it in the past. I remember Big Show telling a story once where he said to Undertaker that he was going to blow him up, and within 2 minutes, Undertaker had him on the ropes, literally blowing up because he'd hit him so many times, and he was just weren't ready for it. So do you find you have to the fitness has to creep up a bit more? Is it like a steady rate of cardio as you go along?
Yeah, I'm very naturally blessed, and I think I get it from my old man because he's a natural crazy genetic athlete. Like just guy could do anything, but like. I've always had a very good, consistent, constant rate of cardio. Like whenever I was in school, all throughout my life, when I was in my 1920s, I could get. I mean, like when I was in my 20s and stuff, like I could go out binge drinking for like two whole days, like heavy, and I'd wake up, and a lot of the time, to like make myself feel better when you're on a hangover, I'd just run. But I'd go for a run, and I could easily end up running 15 miles, and I'd just pound that out. And I still do that quite often sometimes. I don't do it as much now because there's really no need, and I don't really know why I did that. But like, I'm very, very lucky and blessed. My natural like constant rate of cardio and endurance is quite high anyway, naturally. Like, but yeah, I do incorporate a lot of explosive stuff. I don't focus so much right now on kind of high levels of like HIIT, just because if I was to do too much of that, I would shed loads of weight, and I would lose like everything I built. But I do a lot of explosive movement and cardio and incorporate that, because I think that's kind of a nice way of doing it, like circuits and rounds and things like that, because that's also very, very, to me at least, closely simulates like what we actually do in a ring.
Yeah. Yeah, it does make sense, to be fair. It's just like, it's interesting coming, because obviously with a natural bodybuilder, you do a lot of bodybuilding and you do keep yourself in that shape. So I was interested to find out about the diet side of things as well. So does that come in? Does that change again? Does it change near enough a showtime, or is it just lean stuff? Or what do you crave, for example, like bad stuff, bad shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, to be honest, I'm on a dirty bulk at the minute, so I'm quite good. But do you know what I'll talk about, say, maybe before my bulk, because that's a better example. Before I was bulking, I was quite crazy on my diet, like, and even now, like, to be honest, throughout the week, I really literally, it's boring to listen to, but I literally only eat chicken and rice, really, or maybe salmon and rice, or maybe salmon and mash and like some veg. Like, that's literally all I'm eating.
When you had what was it, Nando's the other day?
Yeah, I love Nando's. Nando's is great, man. Like, I think Nando's is wicked. It's high levels of protein, tastes good. But yeah, for me, like, I'll eat that 3-4 times a day, have some shakes and stuff. Like, it's quite boring. But yeah, like, certainly when I was trying to be super cut, like super diamond waterproof, like cut, I was really, really dieting. I was doing crazy. I was running like I say, like, it could be anywhere between 3 to like 8 miles, quite often, at least once a week. I'd be, yeah, literally very, very low carb. I'd still have chicken and rice, but very, very low amount of rice and stuff. Lots and lots of veg as well. Lots of high protein. There was periods, I remember I went like 8 to 12 weeks. I was coming up. It was my first few shows, and I was really insecure about having like really diamond cut abs. And I don't think I had any sugary drink, any sweet, any crisp, any kind of like bread, anything for like 6 to 12 weeks. And then as soon as that period ended, I think it was roughly like maybe just over 2 months, or just about 2 months. As soon as that period ended, I had a pillage like that week. I was just like, I needed like chocolate back, so I just had to like eat like loads of milk trays and stuff.
Milk tray. Pizza's another favorite of people that I have.
Pizza, I love pizza.
We're going to break off and play a little game now before we get into a bit more about Jurassic and Ignite. It's called a word association. It's quite simple. I'm going to throw a name of a wrestler at you. You are going to tell us the first word, phrase. I'll do it as well, just for shits and giggles. I'll play it as well. First name I'm going to throw at you. Funny enough, you mentioned him, was Shawn Michaels.
Greatest.
I'm going to I'm going to be a bit and say Jekyll and Hyde. When he was
interesting.
He obviously he's a lot. Obviously nowadays he sounds as if he's born again and stuff like that. But before that, he was very much well, from what you hear anyway. I've never been there. I've only had anything but pleasant experiences with him. But we know Eric Bischoff. You remember Bischoff? Do you remember Eric Bischoff?
Intelligent, I would say. Yeah,
I'm meeting him in 2 weeks, so I need to be very good here in case he listens. No, he was very I would say instrumental, because he was instrumental.
That's a better one.
He came very close to winning that war. I don't know what would have happened to wrestling if it had happened, but he did. And I certainly look forward to seeing him in a couple of weeks. So Eric, if you do watch this, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and please come on this show. Cheap plug.
Nice.
Triple H.
There's so many. Pioneer.
I'm going to use the word, and there's a story behind it. I'm going to use the word arms. because we have a picture, and I'll find it and I'll show you when we're at show next time we're at show together. Me and Triple H are literally having a picture, kind of doing an arm wrestle pose.
Nice.
And this is when he had long hair. So this was WrestleMania 27, I want to say. So first match with the second match technically with the Undertaker. He had one previously that they don't talk about. But so we had an arm pose, pretty much like a test of strength, and the arm difference is a joke. So I'm going to say arms in that one. John Cena.
Oh. I'd say superstar.
I'm going to say, go on. I'm going to say, I'll say one word, and again, there's a story behind it, and it's Tottenham. And I hated Cena. I know. Let me phrase that. I didn't hate him. I hated the fact that he was being every segment he was basically in at the time. Yeah. And I support Tottenham. Unfortunately, maybe for some, but I do. Yeah, there you go. Look, there you go. We and I went to it was Tottenham Arsenal. We beat them 5-1. It was a cup game, something like that. And I was sitting in a stand, and I turned around and looked up, and Cena was in the box above me. And then I met him again. I met him at WrestleMania 27, and I booed him as I walked up because as a bit of fun, laughed with him, and he signed a Tottenham shirt, and that's how I say from there.
Oh, nice.
Finn Balor's also a Tottenham fan.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I have seen that somewhere.
I'm going to AJ Styles.
Cheap one, but phenomenal.
I'm going to be a bit thingy on this. I'm going to say arrogant because he was when I first met him. So I don't like to mention these three letters on this show. 1PW. I went to a show in Hull. This is when they were before they went bankrupt the first time. And I was sitting in a cab. There was the village. I think it was the Village Inn Hotel. Me and my friend was sitting there having this mint hot chocolate, and this big white van turned up outside. And I joked to my mate, wouldn't that be funny if that had the wrestlers in it? And then out walked Abyss, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and a couple of others. And we didn't bug them. We was going up in the lift. They were going up in the lift. We sort of acknowledged them. We didn't, we didn't do what these fans do and ask for pictures and that. So we went to the show, and we went to the show, and I walked up to AJ and I went, "Oh, hi AJ, I saw you at the hotel." And we were just talking, and I asked him a question, and he went, "I'm not going to do anything unless you buy my shirt." And I was just like, "Okay, well, you smug." So I just went, "All right, cool, see you later." And I went and talked to Christopher Daniels, funnily enough, who was sitting not far away. But yeah, arrogant at that point. Probably not so much now. But yeah,
you wouldn't think he'd be like that, to be fair.
No, Jeff Hardy.
For me, childhood hero. I know that's not one word, but
no, you don't have to use a word. It can be a phrase or a sentence, so that's fine. Childhood hero. I'm going to say the word edge, and again, I always say these things because there's a story behind it. I have the Rated R belt, the spinner belt that Edge come out when because he beat Cena. I didn't like Edge until the time he beat Cena, and then I loved him because
everyone loved him.
Yeah. And it was my goal to get it signed by Edge, and it just didn't. I went to take it to WrestleMania, I didn't, and then he retired, so it wasn't going to happen. I went to a show with Jeff that Jeff was doing autograph signing, and I took the belt just because, as a Mark fan, you take your belt where you go, right?
You take the belt. You got to take the belt.
You got to take the belt, right? I made a joke with him that he didn't find fun. I said, "Oh, you're never going to win this." And he looked down at me, looked at the belt, and then he signed it, and he did smile, but he did sign it. But I did eventually, the end of the story, I did eventually get Edge to sign it. It was at a comic. It was a comic.
Oh, nice.
I never normally go to them, and then they said, and then they said Adam Copeland was there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going. This is the chance.
I have a really short, funny story about Comic-Con. I go quite often sometimes because I do like it. Not every year, but I go when I can. I went one year with my mum because my mum loves sci-fi. Yeah, like she loves it all that stuff. It's probably why I do. And I took her there, and like my mum was like she was really excited to see the Ewoks. She saw these Ewoks. She was like, yeah. So then there's a picture on my phone of my mum really happy with these Ewoks. So there's my Comic-Con story. It's not quite as good as Edge signing your belt, but that's my one.
But anyway, it's good. It's good. It's fam. And the other one was RVD that signed it as well. He was there as well.
Oh, no.
Hand down.
Yeah, cool.
Last one on this game. We'll move on to something else and then we'll play another game. John Moxley.
Oh. Aggressive.
Yeah, great. I was going to say blood. I'm not sure who gives more
blood. I was going
to
say bleeding, yeah, but I felt like...
I was going to say that because I don't know who gives more blood, me or him, recently. I've had about 20 tubes of blood taken recently, so I don't know how close Moxley is to that. But actually, there's one more, and I thought yeah, neck and neck. I mean, I think we had to do one more just because he's been in the news a lot recently. CM Punk.
Oh, that's a tough one, man. Oh, there's so many. For me, it's kind of an obvious, but just controversial, man. Like, this guy is so controversial. Like, I love CM Punk. Like, watching him as a kid, he was my favorite. Even when he come back, it was huge. Like, I rarely buy wrestling shirts. Like, it's not because I'm not a fan. It's just because, like, for me, I really have to feel quite moved, like to do like, and it's not because I'm cheap or anything either. It's just like quite often I'll be like, yeah, that's nice, well, but like, so straight away I bought a Punk shirt. I was like, this is good stuff. And then, yeah, like, even after the whole thing with the Elite and stuff, he came back on TV and straight away had me reeled back in. I was like, yeah, I love this again. Like, this is so, yeah, for me, yeah, it's kind of, I kind of feel let down, but it's just, he's just, don't know. He'll always be a star. He'll always be one of the best, but he comes with all the way he is. So.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to say GTS. I'm just going to take my wrestling shirt off. My allegiance to Bullet Club. But Punk, yeah, definitely go to sleep. I just think they're all childish fuckers, to be quite frank with you.
That is childish, yeah.
The amount of money they could have made on that, Anyway, that's another story for another day. Let's talk back to you. The last show I saw you at Ignite, your match changed. You were meant to be in another match, right?
Who? Me and Ted Savage.
Maybe Corey. Was it Ted or Corey you were meant to be with? I can't remember.
Oh, at Jurassic.
Yeah, Jurassic. Yeah.
Jurassic. Sorry, I thought you said Ignite. I wrestled Spicer, Josh Spicer. I was supposed to wrestle Corey and Sapphire in a triple threat, but someone, I can't remember exactly who, someone didn't show, didn't turn up, etc., something like that. So it worked out better that I think it was Spicer's opponent wasn't there. So then me and Spicer had a match. And I did what I always do, which is beat Josh Spicer. So
I did notice that this morning. I saw something as like death tactics me over Spicer.
if Spicer sees this, I love Josh Spicer. Great guy, like, good friend. I love wrestling him because I always win. He never wins. He never will. Ever.
Well, not against you. I mean, he did win at Buckle Up, which was my show, but he wasn't going against you, so we have to.
Bro, if it'd been me at Buckle Up, he would have never won that match. He's going to be in the same final as me for Ignite for the breakout. So of course he's not winning that, is he? If I'm in the match, of course not. He can never beat me ever. Not till and even when I'm dying. Like, even then, he couldn't beat me because my lifeless body will wake up at the coffin just to beat him and go back to sleep.
Or you can do what Swerve Strickland stuff and have a bit of hair hanging out of the coffin, like they did it All In, and then he technically didn't.
All like that.
He should have said, "Come out, so he technically didn't lose." But yeah, you don't lose to Spicer. You always seem to beat him. But that day itself, how did that change? Obviously, you've worked with Josh Spicer a lot, so it probably didn't change massively. But you're sort of going there thinking, I've got Sapphire and Corey, and Corey is very much a strong style wrestler. That's how he wrestles. I've never seen Sapphire before up until I was very impressed with her performance against Corey, but she was quite hard hitting as well. And then you're going against someone that comes out to spice up your life. How does that change though? The way it's great, I love it, but how did that change everything for you that day? Because as I say, you're going from two technically strong style guys, to Josh Spicer, who you've wrestled a lot, but there's still a mindset change, is there not?
Yeah, 100%. Because especially for Corey and Sapphire, like both individually, like Corey, obviously, like you say, it's a lot of strong style. So I think our styles would complement well, just because I'm a high flyer. He's like he does quite a lot of athletic stuff, but he's like a hard hitter and stuff. So that matches up quite well. So there was stuff that I was watching, and I do this quite regularly. Like, you know, when it comes up to a match, I'll go and watch someone's stuff just so I can like put together my brain on their stuff. Do you know what I mean? So like how I'd see this going with this, and you know, maybe this to this, and etc. And then same with Sapphire. I'd watched a few things of hers as well, and like she's like crazy athletic and talented. So I was thinking of ways of putting all of that together, and had a few different ideas on that. But yeah, and then on the day, obviously it changed.
Yeah.
I guess if it was someone else, I would have been really concerned, because I would have been like, oh no, how am I going to get ready for this opponent?
Yeah.
But because it was Spice, I was like, oh, got this in the bag. But yeah, no, it does definitely change your mindset, because obviously you're kind of preparing for a match and a certain style of match, and also a triple threat with two people that you kind of looked at their stuff, and then obviously now it's someone else. Even if you do know the opponent, it's someone else that you wasn't quite preparing for. But you have to roll with the punches, I guess.
You do. That is the life of independent wrestling, and me and CJ will be touching on that, or CJ will be touching on that later on tonight. We have a little bit of a story about that ourselves. But you picked up the win, as you say, nevertheless. But what is your feelings of the women going against the men? Because obviously we're seeing that more. You see it more in the independents now. WWE, Rhea tries to get involved, but there's a point of which they stop. You know, they don't get involved. But do you see that? I saw a match at the weekend, Aluna Blue against Connor Mills. And I'm thinking, my goodness me, because Connor Mills, I saw he was at Buckle Up. I've seen him at Rev Pro, and he doesn't hold back on his stuff.
Yeah.
He's very hard hitting. But is that something that you don't mind? Do you mind that sort of stuff? Do you want to see it more or less in wrestling? How do you feel about it?
It's difficult, because it's like, I think it's down to the people involved, if they want to do it. Because for me, I guess sometimes I think structurally and organizationally and like professionally, I kind of like, and it's not just like the women's division. I think the same about tag, and I think the same about heavyweight and cruiserweight, and like whatever you put in the middle is like the mid card belt. I like division stuff. That's just what I like personally as a fan. Plus, if we're trying to replicate something real, I think it makes sense. Because that's what UFC does, and that's what boxing does. For example, if you remove yourself out of that, and we enjoy wrestling for the fun ride that it is, and for the work, how good one athlete is against the other, and who's going to be the best on the day, then absolutely it's a great ride, and it's amazing to watch. And I've seen so many intergender matches that really slap, and like intergender tags and stuff like that. And yeah, ultimately, I think it's down to if the fans like it. Yeah. Like if the fans enjoy it, and the people who are doing it are enjoying it, then it's working, and then it's good, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I don't mind it. I'm a fan of division. I don't mind it myself. I do want to see women showcase more on shows than they are. It's been a big bugbear of the team here, and we've been watching the stuff on the TV and always saying that they're big on this, but they never really give them a storyline or a decent match. I mean, Rhea Ripley was main event is Raw. I saw that this morning. That was good to see. But yeah, I wanted to see that a bit more. But on the indies, I always find that the women get the time. They even get storylines. Yeah. Rev Pros have a good storyline with the women going on as well. So I was happy with that. Before we move on to your end goals and some promotional stuff for you and me, there's one more game, and this is a random wrestling game. I've been thinking as we've been going on of random wrestling questions I can ask you, and there's about 5 or 6. And they're just questions, and you just have to answer them with whatever your answer will be. So the first question would be, if you can perform in any arena in the world, what would it be and why?
Very simple answer, but I'd probably say Alexandra Palace, because it's there's a sentimental thing there. So I went to Alexandra Palace a few times like with family and stuff, to watch progress. I've gone there a couple of times. So usually to watch the Strong Style tournament. And that I just always found that venue to be electric. Like the feel in the room was crazy, the matches were crazy, just everything about it. That's probably one of the best wrestling events I ever went to. Like is some of those like super Strong Styles. I think I want to say it was like 2018. But anyway, plus I like when I was young and younger, I spent a lot of time in Alexandra Palace in that area, going out drinking with my friends, and I worked there. And I worked the bar there and stuff like that. So I remember one year I was working the bar. I just started a little bit of training, and I was like serving the drinks. And I remember like Osprey, OJMO, Mambo, TK Cooper. I can't remember everyone. Like Riddle, Walter, Trent, Tyler Bate, Pete, all those guys were all there, and I was like serving them drinks and stuff. And because I was also staff, I could walk around a fair bit anyway. So I would like see them, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" and stuff. And I just always thought, "Oh, this would be so cool that like I grew up. I spent a lot of time there. Not grew up there, but I spent a lot of time there personally." And then I worked there. I worked the wrestling show of the wrestling thing I love and the business I'm now a part of. So like the complete arc of that story would be to do something there, and that would be like that. If I ever get to do that, that would be enough for me. I think.
I normally go to Alexandra Palace to watch darts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in December, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people that dress up as wrestlers that go there as well. I don't. It would be easy for me. I'd just have to grow a goatee and be Austin, but they would.
That'd be legendary. If you need to stun someone, just shout me. I'll come. Like,
yeah, come in. Yeah, would get kicked out, but it'd be brilliant to do it. As long as you can sell it well.
Yeah, I will. Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
We'll work on that. So this kind of ties into the questions about your end goal and stuff, but it's filmed part of this question as well. You get a call from NWA, Impact, AEW, WWE. Where are you going and why?
It's a tough one, man.
Don't worry, they won't be watching this, so you can say what you want.
Yeah, I would probably say, a part of me wants to say AEW because I think creatively that's going to feel better. But also I do kind of like the more entertainment side and like the promo side and like things like that of like the WWE, because I like AEW and I think people clearly there get to do what they want. But for me, the storylines aren't really that great over there. I'll say WWE.
Yeah. So maybe NXT first and then main roster, I suppose. That's the usual, right?
Yeah.
All right. So and also to that question, in this case, we're going to choose WWE as you selected WWE. Triple H comes up to you and says, right, WrestleMania, you've got a fatal 4-way. You can choose your opponents, anyone you want, past or present, who they're going to be.
Oh, right now, and because it's in my mind, I would say Walter Gunther.
Yeah.
I would say Gable as well. And then you want, I want to say someone like Rollins.
Okay. Yeah, we can make a broomstick look good. Not that you're bad. I'm just saying that Rollins could make a broomstick.
I am now a broomstick.
You're now a broomstick. Yeah, a big broomstick, but you're a broomstick.
Just because there's a lot of different elements in that match, and that'd be cool, storytelling wise.
Yeah, no, that is good. There's 2 more questions, but they both form the part. They're the same, but they're slightly different wording. So the first one is, what is your favorite wrestling theme song?
It could very well be Dusty Rhodes' American Dream.
Really?
It could be, because for me it goes on like how it makes me feel and how, or actually, okay, that second is probably Goldberg's theme. I can't lie, it's probably Goldberg.
Yeah, you can understand. When I was growing up, it was like the Warrior, because it was that whole.
Yeah, it gets you pumped. Yeah. Goldberg, there's no one, say what you want about Goldberg, say what you want. However, there's very, very few wrestlers who, when they make their entrance, made me take my shirt off and Do you know what I mean? Goldberg had me feeling like that. So I don't know.
I think it was more the theme song for me, but it was always Triple H's that done it. The game. I mean, he's had banger themes, majority.
Incredible themes.
Evolution was a brilliant theme as well. I have to.
King of Kings is really good.
King of Kings, and Randy Orton's voice is the newer. I prefer the newer version if you haven't heard it to the older one. But hopefully he'll be back soon with any luck. But the second part of that question, and this could be where it doesn't have to be the same person, but in terms of entrance presentation, who was your favourite in terms of the presentation of their entrance?
Who had like the coolest entrance sort of thing? It's annoying because some of the ones I want to say aren't really. They're not really good. Not really good people. To be honest, I probably would say Michaels in his day when he would have his special entrance of like the glitter and stuff and like the things that used to like the chain metal or like coming from the rafters and stuff like that and all of the get up. I love that. Or like even say like the 25 entrance. Yeah, that was insane.
I was there for that. That was when he come down from heaven. And I actually was going to say that the best entrance presentation for me was Undertaker's, because it was like sometimes it was a bit mundane because it was the same. But then when he used to get the pictures of the hands grabbing up, or he would come up from come out on a horse at Survivor Series like he did once. And funny enough, we were talking to the Brooklyn Brawler about that because I had Brooklyn Brawler Sunday, and we were talking about, and he was like, you never beat the feeling of standing opposite and having him come out. Just, I mean, you obviously in the crowd, you're like going mad. He went, but he was like, we was talking off air about it, and he was like, you generally crap yourself because it's like, oh my God, you are actually going in against this guy. And it was quite interesting. There's a lot of ones that have actually said that. Cardona even said it. We had Cardona a month ago, and he was also saying, standing across the arena when that goes off and just having him walk down as slow as he does, it's intimidating as hell. But that's my favorite one. Right. But I kind of touched on sort of end goal. So if what is your end goal? Are you looking to stay in England? Would you go to Japan? Would you go to the States? Do you want to do Rev Pro or Progress? What is the end goal for you?
I'd say it's like a mixture of all of that. Like for me, ultimately, there is one thing that would like be the thing. It's more of like they're just things I want to experience. They're like I want to go abroad. I want to travel international to do things. I would love to go somewhere like Japan. I'd love to go somewhere like Mexico. I'd love to go to Europe. I'd love to go Canada, US, wrestle in those places. Anything like a Rev Pro Progress would be amazing. I think it's just to go to the highest level that I can really do it and kind of see how far I could go. I think that's really the goals. There's no particular thing. There's no particular amount of money or brand or anything. Yeah. It's more just kind of things. It's more fulfillment than it is actually, do you know what I mean? Than like an actual level of accomplishment or something. I'd love to. Certainly international. I'd love to do. I'd love to do something in Japan as well. That'd be as an experience as well, not just for me as a wrestler, but as an experience. That'd be incredible. So I'd say like all of the above, and hopefully wrestle, bigger names on bigger stages and all that type of stuff.
Have you got any British guys that you want to face?
British?
Yeah.
There's a ton. Of like a higher level than me, I'd say Spike Trivet I'd love to wrestle. Just obviously because he's Spike Trivet. His mic work, his in-ring work is absolutely insane. The best heel in the country. If he's not the best heel, the only person, or like I would say for me, someone who's on that level, or like the number 1 and 2, depending. I think Bullet's incredible. I want to wrestle Bullet a lot. I think he's just again an incredible heel. The story would tell itself. Yeah. Someone like a Dan Maloney, again, obviously he's off in Japan and doing crazy work there. But way before he was doing that, I always was like, the story would be great. Because I kind of look at things, I don't really look at things for like, this would be action packed. Like, yes, like that's a cool thing. But like, I kind of go on like, for me, what would storyline be something that I think I could like sink my teeth into and be like a good story to put out there, or a good set of promos and a good match to put out there. Like, so I would say like those three guys are what stick out. Obviously, like you get your guys like Cara Noir and things like that as well that you'd obviously want to work. Tyler Bate, just because he's a short guy and I'm a short guy, we're both in shape. Like he's probably stronger than me, but just to find out. Yeah. Off the top of my head, I'd say it's probably those guys. I think.
We met Dan Maloney on Friday.
Yeah.
So our guys, Dave, he was wrestling in the Midlands on Friday. Dave met him. So we're hopeful one day he'll be where you are right now, and we'll be talking to Maloney at some point. But as we start to wrap up now, Joel, can you let people know your appearances, where they can get any, if you've got any merch, and also if you are available for bookings, how can promoters get hold of you?
Yes, thank you. So upcoming appearances, like you say, we've got Jurassic October. I forget the date now. I want to say the 17th.
It's October the 8th. It's the second anniversary.
That's my mistake. October the 8th. I think 15th is Sacrifice. That's why I'm thinking that. So that's upcoming as well. Later in this month, on the 24th, I'm going to be at Coliseum as well, which will be really cool. And there is another UBW show in about 2 weeks' time. Also, the date remisses me again because I'm bad with dates, but so that's what upcoming appearances. And then in terms of how you want to get hold of me, obviously, social is probably the best way. Instagram, which is at Troublesome Heart, Facebook, Jackson Hart. And yeah, if people want to get in touch for bookings and stuff, just drop me a DM, Facebook, Instagram, any of that stuff.
We can, if you need a reference or anyone, we definitely say to book Jackson. He's a great wrestler. If we can get you at least one extra booking, we're doing our job well. So hopefully, I need to reel off a couple of bits for us. A bit later on today, it's Tuesday. A bit later on tonight, we are talking all things Gold Rush with CJ Carter, the man behind Ignite Wrestling. Our title is going to be defended on that show. It's Smashing Mike versus George Lydon versus Lance Rivera in a triple threat match. Apparently that's going on the main event. So that's our title. Our very turnbuckle championship will be crowned, the first turnbuckle championship will be crowned. Corey McRae versus Gene Money as well for the Ignite Championship. Aluna Blue, Kira Chimera in a no DQ match as well going on. There's another couple of matches on that card, but we'll let CJ run through that with us later. Tomorrow, on Wednesday the 13th, we are talking with a British wrestling legend in Doug Williams. So he will be coming on the show tomorrow. We're really looking forward to that. Obviously, we are going to be at Gold Rush ourselves on Sunday. So by all means, if you're in the area or you're coming to Ignite, there's less than, I believe, 30 tickets available. So get them and come and say hello to us. Next week, we are very glad to welcome former WWE Tough Enough winner and hardcore champion Maven will be coming on our show next week for a little chat. He's doing very well on his YouTube stuff as well, so keep a look on that. We're going to be at Progress Wrestling at the end of October. We're also going to be coming back to Progress Wrestling at the end of October. We're going to be back at Rev Pro very, very soon for those shows. We are also delighted to be going to Slam Masters October the 1st. My boys, Beers and Beats Downs, Blanche and Dange, thank you so much for getting that sorted out for us, that we can go and see those guys. We're very much looking forward to it. We can't wait to go. There'll be our first trip to Slam Masters. We can't wait to meet some of the Impact Wrestling guys before they come over and do their fantastic show. I'm sure it's going to be brilliant for those. And finally, one last quick one. Dave, thank you so much for attending Black Country Championship Wrestling last week. You say you met Dan Maloney as well, so we got our picture with one of the members of the Bullet Club. And sorry, last thing, RCWA Wrestling in Raynham again, we'll be coming to see you at the end of October for your Halloween special. We can't wait for that. Guys, this has been the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. He has been Jackson Hart and I have been your host, Adam Cousins. And until next time, everybody, buckle up, stay safe, and goodbye.